On the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield, this is the Fight for Iowa podcast, brought to you by Atlantic Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Cenex, Iowa's Corn Farmers, Green State Credit Union, Quick Star, and by University of Iowa Healthcare. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa basketball coach Fran McCaffery's staff, along one of the most veteran, experienced crew of teachers, has gotten significantly younger, but remains very basketball savvy. 41-year-old Courtney Eldridge and Matt Gatens, age 33, have been hired to fill the vacancies created by Kirk Spiraw's retirement and Billy Taylor's head coaching appointment at Elon College in North Carolina. Both Eldridge and Gatens were great players in Fran McCaffery's system. Both sit down for a visit next on this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. Thanks to our All-American sponsors, Athletico, Iowa Corn, and Shields. We'll be right back.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
It's been a long day. Your schedule's tight. Can we just take care of dinner for you? Quick Star has take-home meals, not cheap flash frozen stuff. Made from scratch, fresh, never frozen. Great quality because we make it ourselves. Grab a meal now to heat and eat later. Great kitchen cravings meals like fettuccine alfredo with grilled chicken, meatloaf with mashed potatoes and gravy, roast turkey with dressing and mashed potatoes. I feel a meal, a great family meal coming on that you didn't even have to cook. Quick Star, we got you covered.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
New Iowa assistant basketball coach Courtney Eldridge is far from inexperienced and untrained. Eldridge was an all-Southern Conference guard for Fran McCaffery at North Carolina Greensboro, a career assist leader, third all-time in steals, and 1,300 career points. All that before a 12-year professional livelihood. There is much Courtney Eldridge brings to the bench, most recently recruiting and video coordinator and player development. Eldridge has spent the last 6 years immersed in the Iowa system. He's always had Fran McCaffery's and the players' respect.
I had a really good relationship with, Jordan Bohannon and Joe Toussaint and, the guys that, and Aaron Eulis now, guys who are, in that position. I can speak from experience, not only as a coach, but as a basketball player, what's expected in certain moments and, just try to, pull those guys to the side and just, be another voice or another ear, you know what I mean? Sometimes, and coach gives, the point guard a lot of freedom to, voice their opinion, or if they see something, and from their point of view that, he might not see from the sidelines. He's always, been very open to, guys, just being basketball players and not being robots, and, having expression and opinions of their own. So, I've had a great, 6-year run. I'm looking forward, to further solidifying, the momentum that we have or have had in the past few years, and just looking forward to the upcoming season and getting back at it.
Coach, in watching Fran McCaffery over the years, I mean, he really gives his staff members freedom and leeway when it comes to suggestions, scouting reports, game prep. He really values assistants' input. In the end, I know he's the boss and his decision is final, but he's very open to a veteran staff and veteran players like you guys, as well he should be. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a totally fair assessment, Dolph. It took me probably, a year and a half, 2 years to be comfortable enough to, offer my suggestions. Right here I am as, the video coordinator who typically, normally, a coach, probably wouldn't take a lot of advice from. And it took me probably a year to, get comfortable to, just offer my suggestions. Hey, coach, I think we should do this, or, I think this play might work. But having spent all that time in the video room, I was able to see, kind of in our opponent scouting, things that worked or things that didn't work against the opposition. And, I was able to, foster my own opinions and kind of bring it to him. And he trusts me, there were times at the game, in game, I would offer play suggestions, and luckily, it worked a little, more than it didn't work. So, I was able to garner his trust, and I think that helped, him see that he already knew I was, a pretty good basketball player, but intellectually, seeing the game, from a coaching perspective, I think that helped, with my transition, and him, knowing that I was able to fit, this role when the time came.
Another man and mentor that you've looked up to over the years is the coach whose vacancy you're now filling. Billy Taylor left for Elon and the head coaching position. Good for Billy. He's a class act, an outstanding educator and guide for your career and for players. What do you value most from the time spent with Coach Taylor that will help you proceeding with your own career?
Again, my relationship with Coach McCaffrey and Coach Taylor started in 1999. Mm-hmm. And, at that time, Coach McCaffrey was the head coach, but Coach Taylor was kind of the role that I fulfilled to our current guys, right? A former player, somebody who was, still young enough to, get out on the floor and show us things, and knowing his career and his track record, he had some credibility. And, our relationship started, when I was a sophomore in college, and, he was somebody that, was able to kind of pull me to the side too, as a player, and mentored me. And hey, like, he knew working with Coach and playing for Coach and being recruited by Coach McCaffrey that what Coach wanted and Coach needed from me at that time. So it was just another voice and another sounding board, as I was forming my own, career at 19 years old. So that just kind of gradually, escalated, over the years. And, not only was he a good coach and mentor, he became a really good friend, to me and my family. Just watching him, from afar, how he carries himself. He lights up a room. It's always, positive energy and smiling. And, actually our birthdays are 2 days apart. June 10th, and he's the 12th. So, we had that common Gemini bond as well.
Gemini bond, I love it.
And now BT was, a great example to follow. Working here within the last, couple of years. Again, he was, like a coaching mentor, for me as well. Just seeing the way he, did his scouting reports and how he was with the guys and on the floor. I just hope, I could be, a positive impact on this program as he was. And, he is kind of Coach's right-hand man. And, that's a big gap to fill. But I just hope, with myself and Matt and Sharon, we can, kind of pull up the slack and kind of get us back to, normalcy and where we've been, and continue on this trajectory.
You mentioned Matt, longtime assistant coach Kirk Spira retired a few weeks back. Enter Matt Gatens, a great player under Coach McCaffrey, had a very successful few years on the bench at Drake and Auburn. He's just getting going with his career. Now, you and Matt knew each other before he was hired, of course, and now you're on the same staff. How have you two bonded out of the gate?
And, ironically, when I first got here, by per NCAA, rules and regulations, I wasn't able to, get on the floor with the current players at the time. So, Anthony Clemens and Matt Gatens were, some of the guys that, I kind of got my fix, so to speak, in terms of being able to get on the floor and work out and get some sweat equity with those guys. And not only, for myself, to stay sharp, but it honed and, some of my personal player development skills. I was able to, put together, workout plans and just get comfortable with teaching and articulating, what I wanted those guys to do. So Matt Gatens and Anthony Clemens were kind of my workout dummies, my first couple of years here. So, Matt and I have had a relationship, and I'm just excited, for him and for us, to rejuvenate, the the players, and bring this positive energy where again we can still get out there and show guys some things. We are able to relate to the recruits. Again, both of us have played for Coach McCaffrey, and Matt as the double down where he played here and for Coach. So I think going forward we'll really cover the board with some of the recruits that we'll bring in, to this building. And I'm really just excited, to be working with Matt and continue working with Sherm. And, Coach McCaffrey, I don't think gets a lot of credit for some of the success that he has. And I just want to continue to help build his legacy, because, I wouldn't be where I am, as a man and as a person, and I wouldn't have been the basketball player, I was, without his tutelage.
The defending Big Ten champion Hawkeyes bring back a lot of talent. Yes, Keegan Murray leaves a big hole to fill, but that's the great thing about college basketball. You've got new faces, new talent coming in every year, and plenty returns for the Hawks. The guys have been back on campus for a month and a half or so. Look into your crystal ball, Courtney. You're very familiar with this roster. What do you visualize out of the gate come October, November?
Come October, November, I see, we're going to continue to put out a cohesive unit. I think that is key. These guys want to win, not only from themselves, but for each other in this program. We don't have any egos. So I see a lot of guys, contributing. I think you're going to see, Philip Brabracha be a little bit more comfortable, be a little bit more assertive, and continue on the year that he had last year. I think Chris Murray is destined, to be a star. We saw flashes of it last year, but I think, with more consistent minutes, he's going to be, continue to be a double-digit scorer, for us. Connor is going to be healthy, in a full year, devoted to basketball and not, switching sports. And I think that's going to help, with his confidence and his, his muscle memory, for sure. I love the team we have back. Peyton Sanford has been phenomenal, this summer months. Excited for him. He's going to have, an opportunity to really show what he can do. He can shoot the ball, but he does so many other things. I don't think he gets credit for the rebounder that he is. He really moves. Knows the motion game inside and out, and just him on the floor is going to create so many opportunities. Not only for himself but for other people. I'm excited for Tony. He's coming back as probably the full-time starter in the backcourt, and just knowing how he ended the season last year, I know he wants to build on that and become a more consistent, 3-point shooter, and somebody that we can count on to create havoc, defensively. He's really taken on the onus of that, and I'm excited. That like you said, this is what college basketball is about. These guys have, kind of been in different roles, and now it's their time to kind of step up and like we said, continue on this path that we're on. Aaron Eulis, I'm excited for him. He's going to have a lot of opportunity to go out there and show what he can do. He's been great this summer so far. PMAC, shooting the ball very well. He's focusing on getting stronger and being a better defender and being more engaged. And then, two big guys, Josh and Riley they're getting extra work in, extra lifts in. And, they know, the time is coming for them too. And, what better time than right now? And they're using this opportunity to get better, and working on their skills, collectively, and, extra time individually. And our incoming freshmen, are kind of just getting, used to the ropes, and, it's going to be a learning curve for them, the speed and the size, that they're going to have to deal with. But, looking forward, DeSante getting out there and helping our team. We're going to help him along the way as well. Josh is, over there, not doing a lot of stuff live yet, but, he's getting up and down and getting shots up, really shooting the ball well for somebody who's supposed to be injured. Man, I can't wait to see what he shoots it like when he's healthy. But no, I think we have a really good core of guys. And again, we have a cohesive unit, and, we didn't add, very much. And I think, at the end of the day, to win 4 games in 4 days, you have to have guys that wanted to be out there and do it for each other. And I think, that was one of the reasons why we were able to, do what we did, last March in Indianapolis.
The Boston native who grew up with a passion for the Celtics, Courtney Eldridge, has been scouring the Peach Jam in Atlanta and traveling to other AAU tourneys in Kansas City, Louisville, and Chicago, looking for that next generation of Hawkeye basketball player. Matt Gatens is traveling Iowa and beyond while getting to know his new baby daughter. Gator joins us next on Fight for Iowa after this important word.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
Here in Iowa, corn is more than our livelihood. It's our way of life. We use it to feed our livestock, helping us raise healthy pigs, cows, and chickens. We use it to make ethanol, helping us power a prosperous, clean-burning future. We use it to nourish our families, helping us stay strong generation to generation. And the more we use it, the more it boosts our economy, helping elevate the lives of all Iowans. You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa.
Expert care for sports injuries means getting back in the game sooner and stronger. I'm Dr. Brian Wolf, Director at University of Iowa Sports Medicine and Team Physician for the Iowa Hawkeyes. You should never play through pain. That's why our sports medicine experts are here for you with same-day, next-day, and evening appointments. For imaging, therapy, or surgery, choose the team the Iowa Hawkeyes choose. Schedule a visit at uihc.org/sportsmedicine.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Like Courtney Eldridge, Matt Gatens was an all-conference sharpshooter for Iowa 12 years ago. Gatens drained 1,600 career points and is third for the Hawkeyes with 239 three-point goals. He's looking forward to representing Hawkeye Nation and is proud to wear the black and gold again after spending the past several years on the Drake staff. Returning to his hometown, Gatens calls this a very unique and special opportunity presented to him by Coach McCaffrey.
You know how much he sees the value in a former player, someone he knows and trusts. He's a very loyal guy. So lucky, and Coach Sparrow has done an incredible job with that the last 12 years, being kind of the former player on staff. And it's an honor to represent the former players. I've had a lot of them reach out to me, and it's pretty cool to be the one that's on staff. And excited to be back. It's special, for family and friends, and have raised my kids in Iowa City. We're all really excited.
Matt, what have you learned the last 4 years at Drake to prepare you for this move?
The opportunity to be on the road, recruiting, and be a full-time assistant on the court. Have my own group of guys, taken care of and developing, be responsible for developing them, and then and developing some ties in recruiting and getting out, mostly in the Midwest, which makes sense. It's where I'm from and where most of my relationships are. So I've felt the last few years that's been huge for me to learn from those experiences and opportunities of getting out, and then learning from some great coaches. Obviously Coach DeVries, but throwing the assistant coaches I've been able to work with. Coach Woodley, Coach Richter, Coach Blunt. Us four were there from the start. Everyone's kind of gone their separate way a little bit now, but I was a sponge, learning from guys that had years of experience ahead of me, and just learn as much as we could in coaches' meetings, and had a lot of fun, a lot of success around. Lucky to have some really good players.
And you cut your teeth with Bruce Pearl down at Auburn, so I know you learned some things with that up and down game.
Absolutely. It's unique. Both coaches I've worked for have played somewhat of a similar style to what Coach McCaffrey has done here at Iowa. Play fast, love shooting, and Coach Pearl's no different. That year was a lot of fun. Had a great group. Had a lot of success that year. We were ranked in the top 25. Won the SEC. Made it to NCAA tournament, second round. But yeah, to be able to learn from a future Hall of Famer and Coach Pearl and a close family friend was cool. And I'm thankful for the opportunity he gave me to get my foot in the door in this college coaching business. Learned a ton. We went through a lot that year with the NCAA stuff, and some guys lost their jobs. So I was able to learn probably in 1 year what I would normally learn in 2 or 3 years, because I was given so many more responsibilities because we just had less people. These Power 5 staffs usually have a lot of people on staff a lot of times, and you lose 3 of them. GAs are picking up slack. Whether it's with travel, scouting, learning things with video. It was just a great year of experience and learning that I was really thankful for.
I remember when you verbaled as a youngster to the Iowa program, and then played for a couple different coaches. But you did play 2 years for Coach McCaffrey. Now you're coming back to coach for Coach McCaffrey. What's endearing about playing and now coaching for Fran?
Yeah, it's probably, every player's dream, you hit on it earlier, of just, to be able to come back and coach where they played. It's special and unique to get to do that, but also for the coach that you played for. Thankfully, they've done an awesome job. And got momentum with this program growing, back from 12 years when they got here, and he's still doing a great job with it. And to be able to come back as a former player, even Courtney as well, going into this role this summer, 2 guys that have played for Coach, experienced success playing for Coach, know what he's looking for, know how he's coaching, know how to, if he's coaching a kid, can come over and talk to the kid, hey, this might be what he's looking for. And I tell people, just the fact that I've played for the guy, but I've also gone through, this. I went to this school, and I get to coach this school, but also for this exact same coach. Just all the experiences that I've gained, going to school at Papa John Business School and Tippy, and just living in the dorms and going to the I know what it's like and know what these guys are experiencing, can kind of help relate to them, to help, get them, where they want to be, which is, success here at Iowa, but then also playing pro.
You mentioned Midwest as your footprint, yet you're even better known within the state's borders. How much will you recruit Iowa high schools?
Yeah, it's always been something the University of Iowa has done and had great success with, in my opinion. Take pride in local Iowa kids, owning the state, and they've done a great job of that since, Coach McCaffrey has made it a point to recruit the state, and we'll keep doing that. As long as, we feel like the guys are a right fit. Iowa football has done the same thing. It's just, it's a proud tradition that we'll keep riding with and trying to keep finding the best homegrown talent we can. It's exciting. We have, we return a lot of experience of guys that know what winning is like and know what it takes. Obviously coming off a Big Ten tournament championship, 3 straight NCAA tournaments, ranked in the top 25 3 straight years. It's just been a really, really good run with guys that have been there and they're back. Like our leadership, obviously with Chris coming back, it's huge. Love what Patrick's doing. Love you got Peyton back, Connor, Tony. It's a good, solid core returning, and then you add in guys like DeSante and Josh once he gets healthy. I like where it's at, and throw Phil in there, who I thought had a great season last year coming from North Dakota. It's a group that knows how to win, knows what it takes. So we'll have, it'll be a similar looking team to last year, a lot of returners, but I'm excited. We only had a week of workouts, and it was with camp, and so it's always a tough week to get through, but love the guys. It's something he's always done, he recruits good guys, which makes our job so much easier and fun, and you're working with guys that are good people, want to get better, want to develop, and want to compete. So that's what he's done, and we're going to keep doing that.
Coach Gatens, welcome back. I've got to get used to saying Coach Gatens, but wonderful to have you back at Iowa.
Thanks a lot, Dolph. Appreciate it.
And we'll be back with more Fight for Iowa podcast in just a minute after this pause.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
Atlantic Coca-Cola Bottling Company is proud to support the local communities in which we live, work, and play. Every day, Atlantic Coca-Cola bottling trucks continue to help the food and beverage supply chain by delivering products to retail outlets and those restaurants providing carry-out and delivery services. We know Iowans are resilient, and together we are strong.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Several Hawkeye players were taken in this week's Major League Baseball draft. Iowa, with 36 wins and a deep run in the Big Ten tournament, it drew a lot of attention, especially redshirt sophomore Adam Mazur, who became the highest drafted Hawk in 32 years, selected by the San Diego Padres in the second round. The right-handed pitcher spun a .305 ERA in posting a 7-3 record. Mazur led the Big Ten in batting average against, ranked second in strikeouts, and third in total wins. Mazur is from Woodbury, Minnesota. Another sophomore, slugging Peyton Williams, went to the Toronto Blue Jays in the 7th round. Williams, a first baseman from Johnston, is a career .300 hitter with 21 home runs and 84 RBIs. Versatile pitcher, senior Dylan Nedved, will join Mazur in San Diego. Nedved from Shawnee, Kansas, was a 9th round selection, working both as a starter and out of the bullpen. Nedved was 6-2 on the spring. That's this week's Fight for Iowa. I'm Gary Dolphin. Go Hawks.
Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeyes Voice podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game day content, and more. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.